Can you talk a little bit about these protests and maybe like what the scene is like a little bit?
Yeah, so the Beta demonstration, so we're in the land of Beta. They tried to go back to their land that a settlement is built on. I think it's the Avatar settlement.
Yeah.
And it starts out with a Juma prayer for 5-10 minutes. After the prayer, that's when the chanting starts. And almost immediately after, while the chanting starts, there's tear gas shot at us and live rounds. Once the threat was a little higher, in my case, we ran behind a concrete wall. And they were at some rooftop or watchtower to our right in kind of a cutout in the trees. So we saw them, maybe like 3 to 4 IOF soldiers. And tear gas and live rounds. And we hid behind the concrete wall, still tear gas. That was the first time I ever felt tear gas. And live rounds, you could see the dust coming off the concrete walls. Maybe 5 minutes later, there was a threat that they were coming down from their tower. So the Palestinians were running, and we ran too. We climbed over a concrete wall. And away. I don't even know where we were. We were away.
Yeah.
And then we regrouped. We saw the road that we went up. Palestinians running down, and then to our right in the distance. And we waited until it was clear. We ran too. We had 5 minutes to have a little coffee and tea, a cigarette, you know. But then more Palestinians went to our right at the foot of where the Israeli army was. Shot tear gas at us, some live rounds. And they were coming down from the tower. And our attention was there. But at a certain point, Palestinians were running from our left and then behind us through the olive grove. And then we ran. So I didn't know if that was a threat that was coming from the left or they were just scared because the Israeli army was coming from that road that we were watching them from at the foot of it. But we ran. I made sure everyone was in front of me and they were okay. But right when I was about to step down in the olive grove, further in, I felt a pain in my leg and a bang. I thought it was a tear gas canister that hit me because it felt like someone took like a blunt object and hit my leg. Someone was able to help me run because I was still running after that. They came back and helped me run. And then in the clearing, that's when the Palestinians lifted me up. And then I realized that it was not a tear gas canister, that there was some blood on my pants. And then, so then pickup truck, emergency clinic, ambulance. Israeli army blocked the road initially. Somehow we got around. And then 2 checkpoints where they demanded to see me. And that delayed my care further. And then finally to the hospital in Rafidia in Nablus.
Wait, sorry. The IDF blocked the truck that was carrying you after you'd been shot.
Yeah, it was also an ambulance at that point. So the ambulance, it was an ambulance. They were blocking the ambulance. And then 2 other checkpoints where they demanded to see who was inside, even though it was an ambulance and the lights were on, everything.
I want to back up a little bit here.
Yeah.
So, because that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
You got shot by the army of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, which is actually not that insane. But like you said, I think I've been to a couple different countries in my life, and part of you is always like, well, I have an American passport, and there's this vague thing where I'm like, well, I guess I don't mean someone to hesitate before they shoot me if they're really going to shoot me. But then, as history has shown us countless times, if really push comes to shove, someone will absolutely shoot you no matter what passport you have.
Yeah.
And in the case of groups that such as the one you were with, sometimes I think they'll do that maybe on purpose a little bit. So you guys are at this. I've never been to Palestine, but I've seen a lot of videos of especially settler violence in the West Bank, and they're generally in these sort of dusty towns, and then there will be a fully fortified a fort there. And I know in the particular settlement that you guys were protesting, that one had been cleared by the government at one point. Because, like, generally for our listeners, people, like, the most insane people in Israel, which is no disrespect, saying a lot, the most insane guys in Israel, like crackhead 20-year-olds, will, like, run out to, like, a Palestinian town, basically, like, throw together a shack, and then demand the army comes kill anyone who fucks with them.
They're mobs.
Yeah, they're fucking mobs of, like, psycho. Like how people used to talk about how people would go crazy on PCP. These guys are like that. In this fucking, they're wet as fuck. In this instance, they got cleared in 2021, and then Smotrich, finance minister, a settler himself, big part of the settlement movement, has brought them back, has essentially legalized the settlement. The Israeli state claims the land underneath it, which I'm sure is very legal. And now they're being protected by, like, directly by the IDF. So when you say they're in a tower, are they, like, literally in a watchtower?
From what I saw, it seemed like it was. But yeah, it's in the town of Beta. And yeah, it seemed like a watchtower to me when I was looking at it from afar. And yeah, it went from like 3 people to like 5 people, just tear gas, live rounds. And yeah, they're there to protect the settlers.
Yeah.
That is their job. So if the settlers are attacking Palestinians, that's not their problem.